This is a hole. It got there from a chainsaw when we were cutting up some logs. I'm going to show you what I consider the best way to fix it. There will be plenty of comments telling me I'm nuts. I can't wait. First I'm going to pull it over here without disassembling anything or anybody. Now you'll notice I have a pitcher of water. This pitcher of water is full of very hot water. And I use very hot water instead of soap. And the reason I do is because, first of all, this is a very old hose. And so you notice it just kind of stays where it's put. So I have to cut on both sides, and I kind of like having a straight cut. So I'm using a PVC pipe cutter. It works just fine. I used to use this, but it took me a while to get it in. Now, this is the kind of connection I use, and the reason I've chosen this kind is because when you pull the hose through grass and weeds, and we have lots of weeds, we specialize in weeds, I dropped the screwdriver. You probably watched it roll off and said, what's he gonna do with that? Anyway, the other kind that have the band that you screw and it goes up, that kind gets stuck on everything. And now is when I need my glasses because I'm an old guy. Alright, so you'll notice that it takes either a flathead or a cabinet tip screwdriver or a Phillips tip screwdriver, and I prefer using Phillips tip, and the reason I do is because you have more purchase on yes, that fits great. You have more purchase in the holes, and you are nowhere near as likely to strip them. And so this is actually a ratcheting screwdriver, but I don't use it like a ratcheting screwdriver because I don't have to. I think that's as good a reason as any. And I don't like taking them all the way apart, but sometimes on the old hoses you just have to. Now, putting these back on is kind of like putting a scope on a rifle. You have to make sure that they're even, otherwise the pressure is not right, and you put torque on where you don't want. Now this is the part a lot of people don't understand. This is also the part where I usually forget. You have to put them on here first. If you don't put them on the hose, then you have to take it all apart. I usually do that about once every time I am doing this with nobody watching, but I would never admit to that if you asked. So once they're on here, then everything else is fine. I'll move them up a little ways. Now, I put them in very hot water, no soap. It's so hot out here that the water isn't steaming, but I do not want to touch it, trust me. Or don't trust me, you don't know me well enough yet. So, alright, I'm going to loosen this one a little bit more, and probably regret that, because it's going to end up falling off right into the water. But doing it this way also, because they're both hot, I can press them both on at the same time. And that saves me a little bit of time. And you'll notice they go on very easily, even though this hose is literally about as old as I am. Okay, it's not that old. I'm 60 something. It's the something I'm not going to divulge. Alright, now the thing about putting these on is you've got a little lip right here. Don't let that get inside the hose, because if you do, then the screw, as you tighten it, it'll go like that, and it'll be skewed off to the side, and you'll force it down inside, and that will not work very well. See, now once they're on, it doesn't matter. You can take your time and do it any speed you want, but I do have to make sure that that does not fall in the crack. But I screw it till I feel it tighten, and you'll get so that you get used to that. You'll just feel it stop, and it doesn't really stop, but it just all of a sudden gets tighter. And Once you feel that sudden grab of the screw, you know that you've reached an equal pressure point that you found with the other side. And right now, I just have to make sure that they come in and are even. And this is one thing that I don't like, is working with the handle empty and the lid off, because that end cuts into the hand a little bit. And you'll notice, if you look, interestingly enough, that it's actually going on crooked. This is wider than that. I can feel the end of the brass about right there, so I'm not off the brass here. I wonder if I'm off the brass. I'm off the brass on this side. That's not possible. No, I can feel it. The hose is still hot enough that I can press it in. Well, let's see what happens as I tighten it down and really crimp it down hard. I'm not going to take it off and redo it. I'm just not. I'm not that kind. Alright, but it is pinching the hose in that side. That's what's causing it. You'll see the hose is pinched right in here, that little white strand. I should not have had that on that joint. This white strand is on most hoses, is on the inside of the hose, and it's an anti-crimp thread. And most hoses, if you pick up the hose and look at the end when you've cut it, this will be on the inside. This, they put it on the outside. This is a professional quality or level 3 hose. They're guaranteed not to crimp. That's a lie, by the way. I don't know how they live up to that guarantee. But yeah, this one you can see, it's actually, it's like a dovetail joint actually in each place. And this is a lot harder material, and that is what I've got caught in that joint. And as I said, I'm not going to redo it. Just not. Okay, this one will go right there, make sure it's not there. And I always line up the bottom as best I can, so that they're same distance apart. Now this, as I said, there, I filled it, get tight. And there. And I can't see it because the edge is pointing at you. But I don't know if it's actually working the way I say it is, but it's a feel. And as you fix everything in life, you'll get a feel for it the more you do it. And because we keep old hoses as long as we can, I do it a lot. And I figure that I probably pay for a new hose in these pieces. And I'm not sure what this is, but I think it's some kind of a tin alloy. But yeah, I'm just OCD enough that I'm twisting it as hard as I can so those joints match. And it still needs to be tightened on this side a little more. And this bit is just old enough that it's slipping out just as I get to the point where it's tight as I can go. Alright, I think that's good enough. And this one you'll see is going to stay that way. However, this side it's almost closed. But because it's touching on this side, if I tighten that screw anymore, I'm afraid it'll break. And I happen to come from a line of Swedes that are called the Berserkers. And that's where the word berserk comes from, because yes, my ancestors went nuts. They were Vikings and they killed a lot of people. I don't take any pride in that. However, my genes make it so my muscles are stronger than my joints. So I can do things most people can't. Alright, I can pick up half a piano myself. I used to move pianos, and I could take one side and two guys would take the other side, and that's the reason my hands have no cartilage left in them and why I'm on all sorts of pain medication. So that's why I'm happy all the time. Anyway, I think that's enough. I think you've learned everything you can learn from me on fixing a hose. It's not perfect, but it'll do the job, and this hose will last for another year or two, at least in this spot, until my son uses the chainsaw again. And I think that's it, and this is Betty's channel, and thanks for watching, and we appreciate it. Please like and subscribe. Bye.